So I often get the question from you guys, how do you stay so motivated to exercise all the time? Well, the secret is I'm actually rarely motivated to exercise. The thing is, it doesn't really come down to motivation for me for whether I'm going to exercise or not. If I rely on motivation, I'm not going to be exercising as much as I need to. And that's why I need to come up with a different solution to make sure I'm getting my exercise routine in on a consistent basis. The thing I rely on more is discipline. We all have that feeling from time to time when we're pumped up and we're ready to crush any goal that stands before us. Motivation feels amazing in those moments. But here's the truth of it. Motivation is kind of like a spark. It gets things started, but it fades as well over time. And you can't really rely on it to keep things going long term. Think of it like a car, for example. We use the ignition to turn the engine on and get things going. That's the motivation. But to keep it moving, we need the fuel. That is the discipline. Remember that motivation is fleeting. It's there for when the training is fun and exciting, but it soon fades, especially when things start to get hard. And that's why discipline is so important. It fills the gap between when you are motivated, so you're staying consistent. So whilst motivation comes and goes, discipline is the thought in your mind of I'll just do it anyway, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the thing that gets you out of bed, outside when it's dark and cold, and doing the things you need to do in order to stay consistent. Discipline is what turns your goals into more of a lifestyle. Motivation may help you to get started on your journey, whether that's eating healthy, doing more exercise, whatever it may be. But the discipline is what's going to keep us going. As I've already mentioned, discipline creates consistency. And consistency, I've mentioned many times before, is what brings real results. You can almost think of it like brushing your teeth, for example. You know, we want to clean our teeth, but doing it once or twice isn't really going to help us keep clean teeth in the long run. We need to be doing it every single day. If you are cleaning your teeth every day, that is a form of discipline. So you take that same thing and apply it to your training. The more you're disciplined, in other words, pushing yourself through those days that you don't want to do, the easier it becomes to push yourself to do the things you don't want to do. In other words, it becomes your new normal. When you push yourself more often through those days that you don't want to do it, your whole mindset shifts and you go from somebody who thinks, I'm not the sort of person to do that, to be, I am the sort of person to do that. And that's because you're giving yourself evidence to prove that you are disciplined. And that's because you've chosen to be disciplined over being comfortable. Because often training is the opposite of being comfortable. Normally it's because we want to be in bed, we don't want to go outside in the cold and the wet, we don't want to put ourselves through the pain and discomfort of training, we want the comfort levels. But when we push through using discipline, you build a lot of self-respect and confidence in your ability to stay disciplined. Okay, so that's all fair enough in theory, but how do we actually do it? How do we become more disciplined? Well, there's a few steps here to help you to do this. And the first thing is to take small steps and take things slowly to begin with. Changing your mindset isn't something that happens overnight. It takes weeks, months, years, decades even, to fully change you as a person to be someone who's more disciplined. But the luxury of having a long time to do this is that you can start small and just slowly build up, changing who you are. If you're new to doing exercise, for example, and you want to build discipline into your routine, you start by making small habits. Say, once a week, I'm going to do 10 minutes of exercise. There you go. That's a small start. A couple of weeks go by, maybe add another one in. A couple of weeks more go by, add a little bit more. Yes, your progression will be slow, but at this point, if you're new to exercise, we don't really necessarily care about the results of your training. We care about the results of your mindset change. That is going to be huge in the long run compared to the results you can get in a couple of weeks. And to help you build those habits, we can do something called habit stacking. And it's a form of scheduling something in. So for example, every day you're doing something on a daily basis. Nobody's day looks very different every single day. We all wake up in a similar way at a similar time. We all clean our teeth. We all do bits and pieces all throughout the day. These are habits. These are things that we're already doing. So we can link the new thing that we want to do with one of those. And then it reminds us, oh, every time I get out of bed, I want to do 10 minutes of stretching. And then soon you start to associate one with the other. So every time you get out of bed, you go, hey, this is my time to stretch. Or it could be time to exercise. Or every time you open the fridge, you're reminded that, hey, I want to get the healthy options out of the fridge. Those sort of things can help us to stack the habits to things that we're already doing, that we are already disciplined about. And to help remind ourselves, we can use technology, such as our phones, to put notifications on to remind us of these situations. Like, hey, remember every time you have lunch, just before you do, make sure you do a little bit of cardio workout. Something as simple as that. And remember, start small. We don't want to jump in day one, training like an athlete does. We want to be going nice and slow and change that mindset over time. And that's probably the hardest bit about this. This is a long game thing. Now, there are some people out there, and I'm going to be honest with you, you're probably not one of them, that can dive in straight away day one and completely change their mindset. But those people are very, very few and far between. They are a very small percentage. And to be honest with you, if they are capable of that, they're probably already doing it. They're already the elite athletes of the world. Most of us out here aren't that way inclined. So we need to focus a little bit more on the long game of how we can change our mindset. But that can be difficult. We live in a world now where we want things instant and we want things fast. But that just doesn't happen, because when we get things instant and fast, we lose it instant and fast because we haven't changed what's up here. We may change what's down here in terms of our body composition, but we haven't changed our mindset. And that's what the discipline is all about. It's about changing who you are fundamentally as a person to one that's more disciplined, rather than one who's done a little bit of exercise and seen some results. And the next thing is to reframe a hard day as a win. And what I mean by this is, if you are showing up on a day that is hard and you really don't want to get out of bed, or you don't want to go outside because it's wet, then on those days, if you do get out of bed and do something, and you do go out in the rain and do your exercise, whatever it may be, you want to say, hey, you know what? That was fantastic. Give yourself a pat on the back, give yourself a round of applause and say, hey, I did that today. That is a win. That is more of a win than getting a session perfect or doing a new PB in the gym or whatever it may be. Getting up and getting to the session is more of a win for you. And the way we can acknowledge that, as I already said, we can give ourselves a pat on the back, round of applause, but we could just write it down or voice it out loud and acknowledge that we've actually done it. If you've got one of those calendars on the side of your fridge, for example, you could say, tick it off and go, do you know what? Today I did awesome. I got up and I did something. That's something that I normally wouldn't have done, but I'm now changing as a person. And you can write these thoughts down as well if you wanted to make a journal out of it. That works for some people, it doesn't work for others. Me personally, I would probably never write in a journal, but maybe on a calendar I might tick it off. Something small, something simple, and you can also build that over time as well. So to wrap it up here, remember that motivation isn't the goal if you want to be able to change your mindset. It's all about discipline. That's going to be the thing that we need to do. Start small, make those small steps, recognize every step that you're taking along the way, and reward yourself by giving yourself praise every time you push yourself through those hard days. Believe me, this is not an easy journey. You're fundamentally changing your mindset and your mindset path to be able to achieve tasks. That's not an easy feat, but if it was easy, everybody would be doing it already and I wouldn't have to make this video. But here we are. I'm making this video because you guys reached out to me and asked me how I stay motivated. And like I said in the beginning, truth is, I'm not. I'm actually very rarely motivated, and not many people are motivated every day. It's about discipline. And if you have any more questions along these lines, any comments or concerns, you can pop them down in the comment section down below and I'll be sure to help you. Or if enough of you do it, I can make another video just like this one. If you did like the video, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. And if you're new here and you haven't subscribed already, be sure to hit subscribe and watch more videos just like this one, what I've already done or more coming in the future. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Are you ready to start your fitness journey? Then sign up now at adapttoperform.co.uk and get access to hundreds of workouts specifically for us wheelchair users.